Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Thanks so much for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. Now, I know that you spend a significant portion of your life at work, so I'm on a mission to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I'm so excited to welcome my very special guest to the show, Guy Kawasaki. Guy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as your guest.
You're so welcome. And I have to tell you, I'm a little geeked up about this. I've been a fan for a long time. So I was very excited to get your new book, The Art of Social Media. And I'm eager to dive into a juicy conversation. But for anybody on the planet who doesn't know you, and I'm sure there are probably just a few, let me tell them about you. Guy Kawasaki is the chief evangelist of Canva, an online graphic design tool, which I am loving, by the way. I'm just getting to know it and I
Thank you.
absolutely love it. It rocks. But formerly, you were advisor to the Motorola business unit of Google and chief evangelist of Apple. You're also the author of The Art of Social Media, your brand new book, The Art of Start. APE, affectionately known as APE, author,
Mhm.
publisher, and entrepreneur, and one of my favorites, Enchantment, as well as 9 other books. And Guy, I was intrigued to learn that you earned your BA from Stanford and your MBA from UCLA and an honorary doctorate from Babson College. So well done.
That's just about my whole
That's
life
it,
right
right?
there.
That's
Yep.
that's all you wrote. But tell me a little bit about the new book with Peg Fitzpatrick. And I devoured this book, and you mentioned that Peg is the best social media person you've ever met. So how
hmm
did that connection come to pass?
She stalked me on
Uh,
Twitter, basically.
Beautiful. I think that's great. I would expect nothing less, right?
Yeah, she wanted me as a guest on one of her Twitter
Yeah.
activities.
Yeah.
And we've been working together for, I don't know, more than a year now. And she really is just, there's some people who are hardworking, and there are some people who are smart, and there are some people who are both, and there are some people who are neither. And
Yeah.
she's both.
That's
She's
great.
both.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, I love the book. I'm still very tactile, so I have the hard copy and I
hmm
highlighted it and I dog-eared it. And I will say with humble confidence that I've been using social media successfully, but I learned a hell of a lot reading the
Well,
book.
thank you.
So I really, really appreciated that. And some of these brand new tools and resources are things that I'm using every day. But one of the things I want to talk about, you mentioned you and Peg feeding the content monster, right? And how it's so important to do that. Talk to me a little bit about that.
We believe that the proper use of social media as a platform is to earn the right to every once in a while, maybe 1 out of 20 times, promote your product, your service, your book, whatever.
Mhm.
And in order to earn that right, you have to provide value.
Mhm.
And value is not come buy my book. That's not value. Value
Exactly.
is curation or creation. And so the better you create and curate, the more people will follow you, the more people will reshare you, the more people again will follow you. And so it just builds your platform. And so the model I like to use, or the name of the model, is the NPR model, where
Mhm.
NPR provides great content all year long. And by doing so, it earns the right to run the pledge drive. And there is no other organization that could run the pledge drive and get away with it. And it's because NPR is so valuable for people.
Right, right. The content is just extraordinary. And
Yes.
I love that you're giving everyone permission to say, look, don't just share your stuff, share the great things that you find, pass it along. And you talk about the ultimate gift in social media is sharing something,
Yes.
and tell me, that
Because,
really resonated.
yeah, because, try to generate content, even one a day, is
Yeah.
basically impossible. And our recommendation is that you post per service 4 to 5 times a
Yeah.
day. So, you couldn't possibly create 5 blog posts a day.
Hmm.
Well, maybe I could for a day, but that's it. Not for the long run. So the key is that you should just come to grips with the fact that you cannot create that much content, and there is a lot of great content already out there. So it's a win-win for everybody. You have something you can curate. The
Hmm.
people who wrote the content get more exposure, And the people who follow you have a filter that they can depend on so they don't have to go and try to find all this stuff themselves. So everybody's a winner.
Absolutely. And it promotes good behavior. And the reality is anybody, whether they're a business person or, an individual trying to get the word out about their brand, bringing other people into the fold is just the right thing to do.
Yeah, the rising tide floats all boats.
Exactly. So speaking of which, I hope
Wait,
that
sorry, this,
it's all
this,
good.
yeah, no, I gotta,
What are you doing?
well, my phone's ringing,
Oh,
and
your
I don't
phone's
know.
ringing. That's okay. That's
Now,
okay.
now my computer's ringing because my computer and oh my
Are
God.
connected. Hey, you know what? Only you, Guy. This is good. I feel like it's a
Yeah,
real interview. So thank you for
and
being real.
I don't know how to shut it all off. Okay,
Just let
so,
it ring. Just let it ring.
okay,
We'll send them
it's
the
over.
podcast. They'll know you were busy.
Yeah, right, 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 right.
So I forwarded, or I shared, pardon me, this brand new video that I just saw tonight on Facebook that you are in. It's a little video that you did on Big Think, and it's my advice for Mark Zuckerberg. Well done. And
Yeah.
it's getting, it's got like 22,000 hits so far. And I
Oh,
really
really?
appreciated, yeah, it's well done. But I appreciated your message. But for those who haven't seen it yet, tell us about that, right? Because you talked about this story about how people innocently or naively think that what they share on Facebook goes to their whole friends platform, and that's not the case.
Yes, and that is an important piece of information.
Yeah,
So the way it works is apparently because nobody really
I
knows
know.
exactly
I
how
know.
any of
It's
these things
the
work.
algorithm mystery. Yeah.
Yeah, the concept is that if you followed a lot of people and they each posted a lot of stuff, you would be inundated when you get to Facebook.
Right.
So what Facebook is doing is they're making a judgment call about what stuff you should see. And that's based on what you've seen and interacted with in the past. So the concept that if you have 1,000 people who have followed you or liked you,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that when you post something that all 1,000 people can see it unless they changed a setting, which nobody does because
Right.
nobody can find any
And
settings.
they change every 20 minutes anyway. Yeah.
Yes. And so this is a very important concept. So, if you are constantly posting and constantly interacting, lots of people will, get your posts. But let's say that you're a lurker, right? And I
Yeah.
don't I don't mean that in a negative sense, but
Yeah.
you
No, I get
basically
it.
are, you're using as a read-only
Yeah.
mechanism,
Yeah.
right? So you're not interacting with this person, and all of a sudden, this person gets a new job, has a baby, some big life event,
Right.
right? Well, that person is thinking, oh, so 1,000 people might now know about it. But in fact, well, not in fact, in theory,
In
well, not
theory,
even in
right.
theory, in supposition,
Right. Right. We hope.
yeah,
Yeah.
we hope. Some people believe only 60 people, some people believe 100, some people believe 200, but less than 1,000 people could see it if they were on your computer at the right time when you posted it. So, that's a lot of
Right.
ifs, right?
Right.
And so this is a very interesting question. Now, Facebook also has a way where you can promote your posts so that you can ensure that more people see it. And frankly, that's Facebook's prerogative and that's
Sure.
Facebook's business model.
And
So
that's how they're
hallelujah.
monetizing. Right. Right.
Yeah. So in a sense, Facebook is doing this tremendous free service for you, so they've got to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not getting all morally indignant about it, but I just people need to understand that when they have a baby announcement, not all 1,000 people are going to know.
Right, right. So tell me about the spray and pray theory of social media that you and Peg talk about in the book. Is this something that you do widely? Talk to me in your words about that. Spray and pray.
Well, spray and pray, there's sort of a spectrum, right? So at one end of the spectrum, I don't know, this is like artisanal social media. You handcraft
Yeah,
every
yeah.
month from organic ingredients, right? And you make one post a day and it's so perfect that
Right.
you sell it in Etsy. So that's one extreme. At the other extreme, people like me, if you added up all the posts on all my services where I'm active, which is Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google Plus, Facebook. It's probably 50 a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's not that I'm crazy, and it's not that I have nothing else to do, but I just believe, and maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, that social media is a very noisy, busy place.
Yes.
And so, you know, if you want to get attention, you have to put yourself out there. And a lot of it is, so that's the spraying part, right? The praying part is, to my knowledge, having done this for many years, spraying all the time, some of which, some posts I can tell from Facebook, 250,000 people read, some posts 50,000 people read, some posts 10,000, some posts 2,500.
Hmm.
And up front, I cannot tell you or predict which one will get 250,000
Right.
and which one
Right.
will get 2,500. Like literally, I have no idea. Every time I think I have it figured out, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And so if I knew because of the algorithm or because of the people who follow me or whatever, they only wanted to see posts about entrepreneurship, well, guess what? That's all I would post, right?
Hmm.
But every once in a while, I'll post this, like, this is the most amazing GoPro video, or you know, uh, here's like the most ludicrous justification that the NRA came up with, or I don't know how you feel about the NRA, but I
I'm
am
with you.
I'm
Absolutely.
all over the map, right?
Right. Right.
And
Unpredictable.
and every morning I wake up and I say, now why the hell did 50,000 people read that?
Yeah.
And why the hell did 2,500 people read
Read
that? I,
that.
I cannot predict.
Yeah.
And so, I can tell you my theories. I can tell you how I think I can make it better. But by and large, I think it's pure luck. Or either that, maybe, we're all so clever and so smart, and we're divining what Facebook's algorithm is. Maybe the people at Facebook, they're just playing a joke on us, and it's totally random, right?
Yeah,
So, one
maybe.
day it's a
Right.
cat video, next day it's um, Desmond Tutu,
Yeah.
the next day it's, I don't know, Richard Branson, the next day it's how to boil an egg, and the next day it's how to make a bird feeder out of a tin can, and it's just random, and we're all sitting there saying, really it's the
What's gonna
Desmond
stick?
Tutu ones that go, yeah.
Yeah. Now,
So,
I will say though, just going back to your theory of being provocative, right? What
yeah,
does provoke people? There's a great quote from your book, and you say, "My theory is that if you're not pissing people off on social media, you're not using it right." And I
yeah,
tend to agree, right? Whether they resonate positively or negatively, or they're just intrigued or,
yeah.
provoked, you've got to light the fire a little bit
Well,
or a lot.
I can't tell you that I do it well. Okay, so there are some posts where I'm purposely lighting a fire.
Yeah.
This would be things like the NRA, women's
Yeah,
rights.
things you're really passionate about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just think that some things are just so heinous, and these conflicts of interest with politicians, and
Right.
this
Right.
kind of stuff, that I just want people to know where I stand. So,
Mhm.
that's Tinder. But in general, I'm not trying to do anything to purposely piss people off. I piss a lot of people off, but not purposely. There's a difference.
There is a difference.
And so, let's take something, I don't know, relatively innocuous. So let's say I post a picture of, or a short video of, some tourist was in a boat and a whale breached, and this person took a 10-second amazing video of a whale breaching right by her boat, right?
Mhm.
So you post something like that, and you say, well, what a cool experience, right? I guarantee you that there will be some people who say, well, I'm from the Mammal Preservation Society of America. And, you people, you need to stay off the ocean. Don't go in boats. Don't disturb these mammals. Don't publicize this kind of stuff. You're creating pollution. You're affecting these mammals' life cycles, whatever. Just, stay off the ocean. Like, okay,
You were
excuse
trying to
me.
do a good thing. Yeah,
Right.
I know. You
All I did
can't
was
please
post a
everyone.
picture. Yeah. All I did is post a video of a whale breaching the
Right.
ocean, breaching the surface. Like I'm not saying kill the whale and make sushi out of it.
Yeah.
Um.
I get it.
Anyway.
I get it. No, it's true, but it's interesting, right? The whole concept of there is no such thing as bad publicity because even a controversy stirs up activity. But thank you for that story. I want to harken back to the resource of the book, and one of the things you mentioned earlier was the NPR factor. And two things that I learned and I use now regularly. You referred to the website alltop.com or
Yes.
myalltop.com and how
Yes.
you can use that as a great robust curation site. And even deeper, you can use holycow.com. And again, it's Holy
Yes.
Cow, KAW for Kawasaki, right?
Yep.
Guy, tell us more about those because those are tremendous resources for social media users.
Okay. So, uh, just by definition, you need to know that I need to find content every day.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, probably multiple times a day. Yeah.
Right. And so if I were to bookmark, I'd say there are about 15 or 20 sites where I think I can always find great content, like Wired, Fast Company, NPR,
Right.
Boston.com, The Atlantic,
Mm-hmm.
it's something like that, right? But if I were to bookmark those 15 or 20 things and try to go to them once a day and look at what's new, every homepage is different, everything is different, right? So
Right. Right.
it would take so much effort to figure out what's different, what's new. So what we've done is we've created a site called Alltop, ALLTOP, where we aggregate RSS feeds by topic. So if you wanted to find all the stories about social media, you go to socialmedia.alltop. If you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to find all the stories about adoption, you go to adoption.alltop. If you wanted to find all the stories about hockey, you go to hockey.alltop. So so that's one level of customization. Second level is you can cherry pick RSS feeds and create my all top, which is I want Fast Company from this, I want NPR from this, I want digital camera review site from this, and I create my own sort of special newspaper.
Yeah.
Now, just so people understand, if you're familiar with something like Flipboard or Feedly,
Mm-hmm.
those things are trying to create a visually beautiful magazine for you where they incorporate pictures and they're making it beautiful, right? We do not do that at all. All we do is we display the headline, the five most recent headlines. And when you go to my all top, it is purely textual and you just can scan literally hundreds of stories in seconds.
And that's the brilliance of it, right? Because it is
Well,
the ultimate
yeah,
curation site and
it
it's just
is.
the sharing mecca. I love it.
Yeah. And so the way to use this, I'll describe how people can use this is let's say that you are an owner of a restaurant
Mm-hmm.
and you of course want to use social media to get people to come to your restaurant.
Right.
Okay. Let's take that as a given. But you figured out the NPR model that you can't just be pimping your restaurant,
Exactly.
25 times a day. So you need to position yourself as not just a restaurant's social media account, but someone who truly understands cooking and food.
Mm-hmm.
Because like my mental model is if you see that an account truly understands cooking and food and the person owns a restaurant, probably a good restaurant.
Right, right.
Okay. So you need a constant flow of stories. So you go to food.alltop, where we have aggregated hundreds of websites that focus on food, food blogs, food sites, recipe sites, all this kind of thing. And so you quickly scan at food.alltop and you see, oh, so here's a video that Martha Stewart did that explains how to remove the shell or whatever you call it from garlic. And here's a story about what's that kind of coffee that, some meerkat or something
Oh
eats the
yeah.
coffee and then
Yes, I know
poops
what
it
you're
out.
talking about. Right, right, right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called either, but I know what you're talking
Okay.
about.
There's
Yeah.
something like that, right? And here's a story from Real Simple explaining, I don't know, uh, how to brine a turkey or
Okay.
whatever,
Okay.
right? And so these all these interesting stories. And so you go to food.alltop, you look at the headline, you click through to the story, you say, huh, I think my followers would like this story. So then you curate the story and the theory is that you curate the story, people who follow you see it, then they reshare it. This is called the reshare test.
Hmm.
So it's not just good enough for me to read, it's good enough for me to risk my reputation by
And
sending
share
it
it.
to my followers too.
Exactly. And that's something that I really gleaned from the book, right? The share is the ultimate
Yes.
compliment, right? Because
Yes.
if it's
Yes.
worthy enough for me to put my reputation on the line and share it, then you know that I think it's great content.
Yes. I mean, it's not going to get the metaphor that I use is if you tip a waiter the standard 10 or 15%,
Hmm.
that's one thing. Okay. But if you tell your friends you must eat at that restaurant, that's a whole
That's a
nother
whole
thing.
different thing.
Yeah. I
Exactly.
mean, now you're
Exactly.
risking your reputation because if your friends listen to you and go to the restaurant and it sucks, you look like a fool,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I don't know. I think most people very seldom recommend the restaurant. So when you reshare a post, you are recommending the restaurant. When you plus one it, when you like it, whenever you do that other kind of things in social media, that's kind of a tip. You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
I like the story, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a plus one. But if I really think this story is useful, I will reshare it. That's the test.
Excellent. Guy, I want to segue for a little bit because I have, as I mentioned earlier, just gotten to use Canva and it's
Yeah.
incredible. So tell our listeners about that because I find it this amazing new tool that has opened up my world. I'm not a graphic designer, but I
Yeah.
know how important it is to have a graphic element in the work that I put out into the world. So tell us about Canva.
Yes. So I'm the chief evangelist of this company called Canva. They discovered me because I was already using it. So Canva is an online graphics design service that is really in the business of democratizing
Yeah,
design.
well put.
So in the autocratic world of design, you were an expert.
Hmm.
You have Photoshop and Illustrator. You have spent months learning those products and you're buying those products or renting those products. Okay. And believe me, there are brilliant Photoshop and
Oh,
Illustrator
sure.
users making
Yeah.
fantastic things, right? But if you are the restaurant owner, hard to imagine that you're going to want to, you know, master Photoshop in order to create graphics for your social media, for your Facebook cover, for your Google Plus cover, for your tweets and all that, right? And so Canva is in the business of empowering people who are non participants in graphic design. And just like Apple created a Macintosh for non participants in computing,
Hmm.
Canva has done it for non participants in design. So now, without having to buy something, without having to spend months learning something, you can create beautiful designs in minutes.
Yeah, and it's so user friendly, and they really are beautiful. I mean, the visual impact is extraordinary with text, with photos, with graphic elements, and it's very affordable. Tell us a little bit
Well,
about that.
I mean, it can't get more affordable than free,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Well, yeah,
So,
but you can go
well,
deeper if you do
well,
choose to purchase certain
yeah.
images.
So this is how it works. So let's suppose we keep using this restaurateur.
Right.
So this restaurateur needs to create a graphic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's creating a menu.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
she's creating a flyer. Maybe a business card. Maybe a poster. Whatever, right? So now you go to Canva. You may have pictures of your food or your restaurant, but you may also not. And you just need a generic picture of fruit, or
Mm-hmm.
you need a generic picture of barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
right? So at Canva, you type in barbecue, you type in fruit, you type in banana, you type in garlic, you type in whatever you want. And we have a stock photo database, and up will come a picture of, you know, a
Beautiful.
coconut.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
right. And so this coconut picture, which is a stock photo, we sell you the use for $1,
Mm-hmm.
which is less than any other stock photo place. And so,
Exactly.
and you can use this coconut picture as the background for your, Hawaiian menu.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how it can get better than that. Now, just to
It's
be
pretty
clear,
damn
you can
good.
use your own photo. If you have a photo of a coconut, you don't have to use
Right,
ours.
right. So you can really customize it with your own images too.
Yes.
Well, I thank you, and I'm sharing the hell out of that because it is the greatest resource. And I have to say, I've seen Canva all over social media. I've seen other images, but not until I booked you on the show did I really understand the tool. So, yay, good
Well,
stuff. Good
yay.
stuff.
And here's an interesting thing. So now people may be saying, yeah, okay, guys, so I understand why or how to make a graphic, but I still don't understand if I'm owning a restaurant why I'm making a graphic.
Mm,
And I could tell you with firsthand knowledge, admittedly, a sample size of one, i.e., my social media,
hmm.
that we've tracked it, and specifically with Twitter. So, Holy Cow, which is a site that you mentioned before, where we try to find human interest stories, about 20 a day.
Hmm.
So, we used to tweet just the headline, like, I don't know, most amazing GoPro flyover of Sochi.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So, we used to just have the headline, but now everyone has a graphic, everyone. And we can see our analytics that engagement has doubled.
I have no doubt.
Reshare,
Yeah,
comments,
yeah.
those kinds of things have doubled. So, you know how everybody's like making themselves crazy with SEO and doing all this black magic, and they're getting 10
Hmm.
or 15% increase, and they're declaring victory. Well, here's the way with social media. Very simple thing. Add a picture to every tweet and you will double the
Yeah.
engagement.
Well,
That's
absolutely. We're visual, right? Humans are attracted to the image. And you say, forget SEO, let's talk about SMO, right? Social media optimization. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And here, so while we're on the topic, so far we've doubled your engagement, right? Now, here's another power tip for your listeners. So I think that you should take a tweet, and this is a tweet with curation or creation, right? So this is not the line at Starbucks is long. This is
Right, right,
something
right.
that has a link that has
Mm-hmm.
value.
Mm-hmm.
You should send that out 3 times, 8 hours apart, and you will see. But if you want to track that link, which you can, you will see that the first time you'll get X, the second time you'll get X, and the third time you'll get X. So over the course of 24 hours, rather than getting X clicks, you'll get 3X clicks. And this dovetails with the theory of if you don't piss people off, you're doing something wrong. Some people are going to say, you tweet too much, you repeat your tweets, you are spamming me.
Hmm.
Okay. And I'll tell you something, just ignore those
Yeah,
people because,
they don't have to look, you know?
yeah, well,
Divert your eyes.
on several levels. So, A, they don't have to look. And B, I'm offering you a choice. You can
Yeah,
either get 3 clicks or 1 click and piss some people off.
right.
You know, take your time, make a decision. What's more valuable? And so, if you repeat your tweet, and listen, I would also make the case that if someone noticed that I tweeted the same thing 3 times over 24 hours, I would make the case that that person needs to get a life,
Right,
because
exactly.
how the hell did that person notice that,
Yeah,
right?
right, right.
So
That's
if
the problem. Yeah.
yeah, can you imagine calling up CNN and saying, I watched CNN for 24 hours. I
Right.
saw you run the same story 3 times. I demand that you stop running stories repeatedly. What's CNN going to say? Oh yeah, okay, from now on we'll just run
We'll
it.
just run it
Tell us
during,
what
yeah,
time to run it just for you.
exactly. Right. Well, you can't let the tail wag the dog, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Guy Kawasaki, you wrote this amazing new book with Peg Fitzpatrick called The Art of Social Media: Power Tips for Power Users. Now, we know we can find it in all major retail bookstores and of course online. I know Amazon and Barnes and Noble have it. But how would you like people to follow you online and check out more about the book?
Depends on what they want from me.
Good point,
If
because you
if
you have lots of points of entry.
yeah. Yeah, so on Pinterest, I'm always finding cool things in beautiful pictures.
Mm-hmm.
On Twitter is my fire hose. If you want to know
Yeah.
everything I find interesting, it's on Twitter. Google Plus is the next level down, less than Twitter, and Facebook is the least of all. So I've just noticed that Facebook is less tolerant of the bulk of posts. So you'll get five or so from me on Facebook, You get 10 or so from me on Google Plus. You get 25 from or so on Twitter, and it just kind of depends on, um, do you want to have
Yeah.
a sit down dinner or you want to have
What's
a
your
cafe?
choice, or do you want a
Yeah,
snack?
yeah, yeah,
Well put. Okay,
yeah.
in the
And
very random. Oh, please finish. Go ahead.
oh, and so I was going to say for people who need to understand the book more before they buy it, we have a website for it called Art of Social.
Great.
And the
Art
first thing
of
at the
dot
top
social.
of Art of Social is a quiz. So this is a social media quiz. So if you're listening and you say, "Huh, I know everything there is to know about social media," go to Art of Social, take the quiz. You will flunk it, and then you'll decide you need the book.
Well, and there is a great chapter about being clueless. So believe me, there's a lot that anybody can learn, myself included. And I thank you for that. Hey, listen, before I let you go, in the completely random but fabulous department, I know you're a total hockey fan,
Oh
and
yeah,
I know nothing about hockey.
yeah.
However, in the random life order department, a very dear friend of mine from college, you don't know this about me, but I was a former opera singer, and a
Oh
very
really?
dear friend of mine, yes, by the name of Jim Cornelison, is an opera singer, and he sings the national anthem at all the Chicago Blackhawks
Oh
home
really?
hockey games. So that's all I have, Guy, about
Ah.
hockey, but it's a pretty cool random fact.
Well, my niece is a mezzo.
No
And
way.
yeah, and she is now a voice instructor at the University of Toronto.
Good for
So
her. Good for
yeah,
her. Well, we're
yeah,
out
yeah,
there, we are
yeah.
out there. But what a joy having you on. I learned so much. I really devoured the book. It's a great resource. As I said, I've got it dog-eared and highlighted sitting on my desk, and I use it a lot. So I thank you and I thank Peg for that, and I wish you great success on all your future endeavors.
Thank you. Take
Guy, I
care.
want to thank you so much for being on the show, and I want to thank our listeners for tuning into Your Working Life, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. True career and life satisfaction is really possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.